Not all comedians that go on the Joe Rogan show are absolute dog shit. Sometimes there is one that rises above the rest to a place called funny. And Shane Gillis has done that. And Joe Rogan knows that. He knows that, and he knows Shane is the king, at least in the comedy world. But if all Joe Rogan really cares about is comedy, is Shane Gillis the king of everything? I don't know. But let's take a look at this video by Podcast Cringe called Shane Gillis versus Joe Rogan. Now, this is going to be interesting because I think Shane Gillis has transcended Joe Rogan, and he is the king. And if you know Joe Rogan and what he really wants to be, Joe Rogan might even call him daddy. But who knows? That's only speculation. So, please, before we go any further, make sure you subscribe to Podcast Cringe and thank them for making this video so I didn't have to. And also subscribe to me too and share it. That would be cool. But mostly this guy because they did all the hard work. So here we go. Shane Gillis versus Joe Rogan.
As soon as I got in the club, I was like, I need security footage. And then he was like, oh, no, everyone's going to see me fall. And I was like, I'm doing Rogan tomorrow. He was like, oh, no. I was like, 10 million people at least.
Shane Gillis made his 15th appearance on JRE this week with his partner in crime, Matt McCusker, and like all of his appearances on Papa Rogan's podcast, it was an absolute banger. And it's an interesting time for Shane at the moment. He's got a lot going on this month, which is what I'm going to cover in today's video. From his...
Just mind, this video is like 6 months old, but I want to go back to this time because this is where Shane has really taken off. I think since then he's gone on SNL, and I want you to see 6 months ago, Shane was king. Now, what do you think now? Is Joe Rogan? It almost feels like Joe Rogan is in a death spiral. He doesn't know it yet, but I don't know. He's rich enough, so it don't really fucking matter. Man, you give me that rich, I'll death spiral all day, baby. I'll do the death spiral. I'll even make a dance like this, you know? I don't know, something like that.
His recent Bud Light sponsorship to the rumored Super Bowl ad this weekend, and don't forget he's hosting SNL on the 24th, 5 years after they sacked him, which helped to elevate his profile even further. But here's the thing. Shane owes a lot to Joe Rogan. Like I said, this is his 15th appearance on the podcast in just 2.5 years. That's right, it took Rogan 2 years.
Why does he have Joe Rogan? Joe Rogan does not look... That's a pretty gnarly armbar right there. That's like a pretty gnarly armbar. You know what I mean? Just look how deep that is. Is the thumb up? Yeah, it looks like the thumb's up too. That's not good, man. That's not good. I mean, that's pretty nasty. Dude, arm bars, there's like arm bar where you tap, and then there's like arm bar where you're like, holy shit, you know? And you could see, it looks like Shane is trying to pull his arm out, which, you know, that's why you have the legs over him like that, because it's just going to sink in deeper, you know? It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, that's not very nice. That's not nice, man. Putting jiu-jitsu moves on people. Actually, it's a judo move. Don't get it wrong. Jiu-jitsu comes from judo, and judo is king. I'd like to say that. If you don't know, you're Kazushi. Here we go.
After Shane's SNL sacking to have him on JRE, and since then Shane has become a regular. And there's an unfolding tension brewing between the two of them, which I first noticed in his last appearance from episode 2074, just recently in December.
Yeah, just think about it. As we go forward, think about now. Where do you think they are now, right? Do you think, you know what I mean? What do you think? Is Shane Gillis like even bigger, or do you think they've settled their beef? I just think Joe Rogan wants to be funny and wants to be the king of comedy, and to see a guy like Shane just come out of nowhere. I mean, he did do his thing, right? But he just comes out, and it didn't even take him like time. As soon as the world knew about Shane Gillis was hilarious, right?
So I'm going to break it all down. As usual, I'll play you some clips from the podcast and explain my thoughts and opinions along the way. And I'm going to play you guys one clip in particular that shows just how different Shane is to Rogan and his comedy brats. So make sure you stick around for that one towards the end. But just before we get into all of that, if you haven't subscribed yet, sort that out, get on board. We're pushing for 110,000 subs. I drop a few videos per week, keeping you updated on everything happening in the podcast universe. So a massive shout out to my regulars who always turn up for me and help to grow the channel. You guys are the best.
There's bears in the forest in certain parts of Europe, I know for sure. I know they have brown bears out there. But there's definitely some... Russia has some crazy...
It's just in my brain.
What is that?
I was like, you drink enough and start remembering Spanish. I was like, oso.
For a bear.
I think that might be bear.
It is.
Nice.
It's actually the new vodka.
Yeah,
Our
that's
friends-
Oh, really?
Yeah. Tom and Bert.
It's Bert's bear?
Tom and Bert have a vodka.
Oso
It's
vodka.
called Oso?
Poderosos.
Oh, what a great name.
Hell yeah.
Perfect.
So Tom and Bert aren't the only ones with a drink to sell you. Shane Gillis recently signed a sponsorship deal with Bud Light and went for a tour at their facility in New Orleans. And the narrative being thrown around is that
Just a little question: is the Bud Light? Is that whole thing still going on? Like, I'm be honest with you. I live in a forest, up in a mountain. You know, that's just what it is, right? That's the life I chose. And I don't have social media, and I don't have the news. Like, this YouTube is my only connection to planet Earth. And I mean, I heard about this thing a little while ago, and then I just, the news cycle or whatever, and I stopped paying attention. I was wondering, are people still mad at Bud Light and like having a big war about that? I just thought, man, people just be mad about everything. I mean, people, they're dividing us, man. They are dividing us. That they do.
Shane saved Bud Light after their train wreck of an attempt to appeal to the LGBT plus community with their Dylan Mulvaney partnership last year. As a result of the controversy, Bud Light went into full damage control as they desperately sought to win back their base, even though they clearly had forgotten who their base was, or maybe just fell asleep at the wheel. Either way, they needed to clean up their image as a blue-collar working America brand instead of a bunch of suits virtue signaling to a community that never cared about them in the first place. So it started with a massive multi-year deal with the UFC valued at over $100 million per year, and then a sponsorship with Shane Gillis, which people are speculating will see him starring in a Super Bowl commercial over the weekend. And oh my God, if we see Shane in a Super Bowl ad, that would be absolutely wild. I mean,
did he end up going into the Super Bowl, or what? I don't know. I really don't know.
The headlines from all the usual suspects. Bud Light uses transphobic, homophobic, something else phobic comedian in Super Bowl ad. And then Matt and Shane sitting on a couch doing their MSSP podcast, just laughing about how angry all of them are. And speaking of Matt and Shane's podcast, if you missed it, 2 weeks ago they had Cole Beasley on, and towards the end of the episode, Cole asked Shane about what kind of money he's making from podcasting and comedy, but then he brought up that he saw Shane wearing a Bud Light beanie and asked what was going on with all of that, to which Shane responded with his signature awkward style.
What's this podcast gig like, though?
What's this?
Yeah, how's,
It's pretty fun.
you get, I mean, what's the money like? Do you get anything off of it somehow? Some way?
Money's thick.
How's that work?
We get like
$1 billion.
we get so much money.
Yeah, it's still solid money. It's not bad.
No, it's great. I'm not saying
Tell you the YouTube, even the YouTube money is stupid. It's literally stupid. The YouTube money is stupid by itself. It is, you just don't believe it. I see, like, the money you can get with views like mine is like, wow, okay, that's a little more than expected, right? But imagine these guys. I think about, you do multiples, right? You do multiples of this money, and you take off like how much you get for 100,000, right, views. And then you go, that guy got 3 million, and you're like, that money he made like a small salary with one video, It's crazy. It's crazy how all the people that do all the hard work in the world, like 95% of people, don't make shit. But if you do something in the entertainment world, you make stupid money. You can make stupid money. Isn't that weird? It just kind of seems like an injustice. But who am I? Who am I to say such things?
It's not.
Peace Squad's not great, but you know.
No, yeah. I'll tell you after.
I love
I
that.
love it.
I love that. All right.
I'd give this up.
Comedy
for Peace
money
Squad.
should be good now.
Peace Squad
though.
would be nice.
Peace Squad would be so sick.
Got a big Netflix thing now.
Comedy money's good. Yeah,
It's working out.
the money is good.
I saw you with a Bud Light beanie on. Didn't take you for one of those, but
Brother,
what's
I'm glad
going on?
you
there?
asked.
What's going on there?
Bud Light rules. Bud Light's back, dude. We're back.
How's it back?
I'll tell you after.
All right.
All right, that's enough
You know
of this.
So that was from 2 weeks ago. Don't forget,
People really, man, you look back on history one day, some kids from like 2205 will be like learning in their, sensory tank, the history of the United States. And I swear this Bud Light thing is going to be just a moment in time that, it's going to be like the Gettysburg Address. It's going to be the War of the Bud Light or some shit like that. The Mulvaney campaign. Dude, I can't believe, man. People are dumb.
but there's definitely still some tension there. Not
That includes me. I could. No.
everyone's convinced. Even on Shane's Instagram, where he announced his new partnership after a tour of Bud Light's facilities, not everyone was happy. Along with all the messages of support and a few cracker jokes, people were saying stuff like, Bud Light trying so hard not to be gay, effing Shane Gillis is trans. Your daily reminder, folks, everyone is for sale. Oh, Shane won't like that one. Paying people that we like doesn't cover up for their sins. F sellout, glad I had no idea who you were and never wasted a minute of my life watching you. I hope you tank. Wow. So some people have already made up their mind about Bud Light and cannot be swayed otherwise, but this was easily my favorite reply. Where'd you get that Bud Light, Danny? Sorry. That cracks me up every time. Honestly, I'd probably rather a grilled cheese sandwich than a Bud Light. But anyway, on this week's appearance on JRE, Shane's new Bud Light sponsorship came up a few times, and it was literally the very first thing that they discussed.
What? Man, people are just really, really angry, I know I'm making videos that are critical of the comedy scene, but for me, it's really just searching myself, through the world of Joe Rogan. I see something in this guy over here and I go, man, is that what I do? Or, and I'm learning how to navigate the world through Joe Rogan. It's just how it is, it's how it is. But I don't understand why y'all got so, like, when you write in the comments or something like blah, 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 it's like, what do you think? What do you think? Like, nobody cares, nobody cares if you want to be angry or whatever. Just be cool, man.
Boys,
Yes.
salute.
Hey.
Bud Light came all the way
dude.
back.
Cheers.
They
Bud Light,
did.
Cheers,
baby.
water.
They came all the way back. You can put down 18 of these. There's no way you have it.
Responsibly.
There's no way you're not driving. It's
True.
You, for some reason, you can do it though. I don't understand. I've never seen anybody consume beer the way you
I can drink beer.
Bud Light came all the way back. UFC, Shane Gillis.
Let's go.
Let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go.
For the
Yeah.
bros now.
I mean, that's a good move. Like that guy that we met, the CEO.
Yeah.
he's got it together.
Yeah.
He gets it.
But you're the
Good
CEO now. I thought you're
Just
the
in commercials.
I knew you guys were going to make fun of me.
No, that's not
Come
making
on, man.
fun.
I'm so happy.
It wouldn't have happened without this.
Listen, I'm so
Yeah.
happy. I'm so happy. It just made so much sense. You never let them go. You never bailed on them.
So a couple of interesting things there in the first 2 minutes of the podcast. Obviously, Rogan's happy for Shane. It's a massive payday for his buddy. And anyone who's been
But I just don't like looking at Ari Shaffir, man. He's mean.
following Shane for 5
Say what you want. He's mean. That guy is not nice. He is mean. He is not nice.
Minutes knows that he's a legit Bud Light ambassador. But I found it curious that Rogan said that he met the CEO as well, and then Shane said it wouldn't have happened without this, presumably in reference to Joe's podcast. I think either Rogan met the CEO through the UFC partnership, or he helped to broker the deal and get Shane on board. And I think Shane...
That brings up an interesting question. If that is the case, is that why Shane sticks around? Because for me, I remember listening to, maybe it's another episode, but like, didn't they get really testy? Maybe it's coming up in this video, but didn't they get really testy with each other? You know, they got like really testy, and Shane wouldn't back down. And you saw like, Shane wants to be free, but sometimes, you know, that's why you don't be in nobody's pocket. Never be in nobody's pocket, man. Just do you. I think about that, like with YouTube. Like, you know, people want to reach out and want to do things together, but it's like, no, I just want to keep it pure, man. I'm just here sitting in my gaming room talking shit. I don't need nothing fancy. I don't need the interviews, you know, like, not that I deserve any of that shit. I'm just saying, you know, you got to keep it real. Sometimes you got to keep connected. It's when you start getting involved with all the fancy shit, like these like fucking underlords come out of the fucking woodwork and they control you. And that's not what you want to. You want to be free.
Shane thanking Joe by saying his podcast played a massive part means that Bud Light obviously likes the fact that Shane drinks 20 of them on Protect Our Parks episodes. Maybe that's how they discovered that Shane was a Bud Light guy. Either way, it's clear that Joe played a role in getting Shane the sponsorship, which again, I think is fantastic. Good luck to him. He deserves it. But then it kept coming up again and again and again. And I started to get the sense that there's a bit of competition going on. Let me show you what I mean. Okay?
Yeah.
Almost an hour into the podcast, Shane tells the story of how he went to Bud Light's facilities in New Orleans, and he brings up their beast horses called Clydesdales, but Rogan, being the animal lover that he is, quickly became obsessed with just how big they are.
Matthew, would you please hand me a Bud Light?
Absolutely.
Responsibly.
Dude. Absolutely.
Wow. What a beer, dude. I met the Clydesdales.
Did you really?
You had to meet horses?
I had to meet some horses. And then I got really responsible. It was in New Orleans. I got extremely responsible.
Around the
that night.
horses? Around the horses?
No, and then I called my dad, and he didn't answer. It was late. And I was like, I met horses. And I'll tell you, they're big everywhere, if you know what I'm talking about.
Big
Distracting.
Horse cat?
Distracting.
There it is. Wow, that thing is huge.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Look at the size of that horse. You're a big dude.
Yeah, that horse.
That's like maybe people need to recognize. Like, how tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
So he's 6'3". Look how big that horse is. That horse's back is like 5'10".
Yeah, it's
That's insane.
it's crazy.
Nuts.
How much bigger are they than a regular horse?
So then after Rogan's done frothing over the horses, he actually cracks a pretty funny joke. But now that Shane's a company man, well, he didn't like it so much.
Why are they so big?
I'd love to know.
Yeah, I mean, like, what they must have select breed them. That's
Horse
part of their
genetics-
business is they keep horses.
Yeah, they have like
They didn't shoot any of them after everything went south.
They would never shoot the horses, dude.
I'm just wondering. I mean, that's what happens when people go poor.
No,
They
would
shoot
never
horses.
Start eating them.
How dare you?
Dude.
Not my company.
They
dude.
fired like a lot of people. I was wondering if they shot any horses.
They own the rights. They own the rights to diesel engines.
Bro, I know it's funny. It's such an expensive joke, dude.
Come on, man. You brought Bud Light back.
Okay, I'm going to come back to why this is a problem for Shane in a moment, but I want to show you guys this next clip first, where Shane gives it back to Rogan when he brings up one of his own sponsors.
You don't
That
use a
is-
VPN?
No.
You should use a VPN.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, you should use one.
That's a great idea.
Express VPN. Easy.
Yeah.
One click. It's a sponsor. It's
Nice.
easy to use.
Ooh, do you think I can use it to bet somewhere else, maybe? Not just. I don't know.
I know that
Oh, this is your
people
sponsor.
use VPNs.
I'm gonna use.
You know what? Just off that alone, Shane's the king. Shane just like Shane. You know, remember back in the day when they first did the windmill, the first time people saw the windmill jump, or like when Jordan jumped from the free throw line, and you just saw him glide across. Yeah, na 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 na, bam! Right? It was like holy shit. that right there, that's a Jordan dunk for the free throw line. Yeah. It's crazy.
Use it
I think
to
there are
bet
sponsors.
somewhere else.
There are sponsors.
I know people have used it to collect Pokemons.
I think there are sponsors too, actually.
Yeah.
I love them. I'll never bet somewhere else.
So they're obviously just having a laugh, but Shane was definitely giving it back to Rogan after his jab about shooting the horses, and the fact that ExpressVPN also sponsor Matt and Shane just makes the whole thing even funnier. But here's the thing, you could probably tell that Shane was low-key getting frustrated, but I don't actually think he was frustrated at Rogan. See, most of these guys have all these sponsors, and they can't keep track of them because they're not really media trained, they're just comedians, right? And I think Shane's quickly realizing that this sponsorship with Bud Light is going to be a little bit different and more difficult than he thought it would. He clearly just wants to drink beer and play Xbox, but now he's got to act like a responsible drinker. He can't take jabs at his corporate partner anymore, and when someone like Rogan cracks a joke about them laying off staff and shooting horses to survive, he can't laugh along and join in because they're paying him to make them look good. So, for someone who just wants to hang with his buddies, have a drink, talk trash, do some podcasts, and work on his stand-up comedy, having to bow down to this corporate sponsor like this could become a problem, especially considering how off-the-cuff these kinds of conversations can be. But I don't necessarily think it's a problem right now. He's obviously still getting used to having such a big brand deal, which I reckon is probably worth over $10 million a year, but obviously I know nothing, I'm just guessing.
It's funny how he has to act a certain way when they hired him for acting away. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, like all this fake, like we're fake, got it together shit that all this big companies and they like, ain't nobody got it together. They're all just pretending. Why do we have to pretend? Why can't we just be ourselves? Like, people didn't like Shane Gillis because he said he was a responsible drinker. People like Shane Gillis because he drunk 18 and then he said, let's do another one. You know what I mean? Come on. Damn.
However, if he does get another couple of big brands on his side from other industries, that's when I think he could start to really screw himself over. Because all of a sudden, he's creating these black spots that he can't joke about anymore, and you can tell just from watching those clips just now, he hates the fact that he's always representing the company now. I mean, he's effectively an ambassador, right? So my view is, I think it's great that Shane's monetized that relationship given he's a legitimate fan of Bud Light, but if he's not careful, he could find himself slowly turning into Tom and Bert, who shill everything under the sun and always have to be in corporate mode. Shane's whole vibe is laid back and carefree, so hopefully he doesn't end up selling out completely and end up like his buddies who are basically clowns for sale. Now, that isn't the source of the growing tension between Rogan and Shane. We saw a little glimpse of it with the horses joke and the ExpressVPN comeback a couple of minutes later, but that's mostly just friends joking around and having a laugh. I think there is something a little bit deeper going on here, and I've spoken about it in the past. It's this idea that Shane's profile is growing so quickly and to such extraordinary heights that Rogan almost needs Shane now more than Shane needs Rogan.
I don't think that's the case. I think that's a bad analysis. Joe Rogan does not need Shane, not now, not ever, not will he ever need him. That's not what it is. Shane Gillis has basically stabbed Joe Rogan in the heart because Shane Gillis, like Joe Rogan always says he brings the best comedians around him, right? Joe Rogan always says, "Oh, I bring the best." No, he puts shitty comedians around him. Ari Shaffir, Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura, Mark Norman. You know, like they're not good. And Shane Gillis is like stabbed Joe Rogan's heart because he's actually better than Joe Rogan. In fact, he's better than most people in comedy. Like he's just grown just by being Shane Gillis. All people needed to do was hear about Shane Gillis, and Shane Gillis did the rest. Joe Rogan's show was just a microphone that announced Shane Gillis is in the room. So the thing is it's not that he needs Shane Gillis. Joe Rogan can quit comedy and he'll be so rich. He's got a hold on this whole kind of like demographic, and that's just how it'll be that way. It'll be that way unless Joe Rogan just does something horribly, terribly, or they find out, you know, some crazy scandal, you know. But outside of that, no, the problem is Shane Gillis is better and has transcended Joe Rogan in comedy and could be a comedy great. The people are saying that he could be a comedy great. And that is why Joe Rogan is threatened. Outside of that, man, Joe Rogan's rich as fuck. He's going to probably be a billionaire in the next 10 years, if not sooner, if not in the next 5. Like, you know, it don't matter who's who. You know, I don't know. Shit.
And I think it's starting to bug Rogan. For some reason, people seem to think that Joe is this really humble guy who's down to earth and in touch with the common man, but nothing could be further from the truth. Joe has an ego the size of an elephant. He just manages to hide it well because he's been sitting at the top of the mountain for over a decade now.
I can totally agree with that, because the deeper I go into this whole Rogansphere space, the more I'm seeing the hand of Joe Rogan wasn't giving out dollars. It was like slapping people back in line. Joe Rogan, here's the thing. We're all fucked up, right? But we're talking about Joe Rogan now. So let's talk about Joe Rogan and not us. But I'm just saying we're all fucked up. We all done make no one. He without sin cast the first stone. That's why I throw logs. Just joking. Anyways, that was a dad joke, wasn't it? Shit. I just made that up on the spot too, man. Can I call it burn the boats? Hey, but listen, you know, I want to try and say fault, but then we're going to talk about Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's kind of mean. He's kind of mean. And if you happen to have success that goes past what he can do, it's not good for you, bro. It's not good for you.
Don't get me wrong, though. I think he definitely wants his friends to succeed.
Oh, yeah.
He helps them out wherever he can. No arguments there. But I've noticed that the way he does it, it's always so they remember.
Dude, why is his nipples always sweating? Do you see that? Every time he's on stage, his nipples sweat.
Remain under his wing. He wants to be known as the guy who helps out his buddies, just as long as they bend and kiss the ring. When have you ever seen any of the Rogan comedy brats go on JRE and actually challenge him? Never. They all go on there, they plug their latest grift, they praise Joe for everything he does for the community, and they pretend he's the smartest guy they know. Shane threatens that ecosystem because he's now achieving what none of those...
This is like the most accurate, you know, this is the most accurate photo of Joe. Like, looking at in Joe's eyes, that's the real Joe right there. That's kind of scary. It's almost, man, if you didn't know who that is, you'd say he was a cult leader, you know what I mean?
Other guys could. Think about it. None of Rogan's close buddies have hosted SNL. And I'm not talking about Chappelle, Bill Burr, and Louis C.K. I'm talking about Schultz, Tom, Bird, and all those guys, that inner comedy brat circle. Shane not only got fired from SNL before he even started, but now he's a couple of weeks away from hosting it again. Even SNL are trying to get in on his popularity at the moment.
I know you have a lot of friends who have worked at Saturday Night Live. Would you ever be interested in hosting the show?
I've said before, I will give up my tour. I have a TV show that when we get back that I'm going to do. I'll give it all up, and I'll be a guest. I'll be a cast member for a year for the experience. Wow. I'll get some numbers for them. You can throw shit at me. I don't care. But, like, I would love the experience. Guest hosting terrifies me. Like, hosting terrifies me. That, I know you have to do it if they offer it to you, but that terrifies me. I'd rather swim with sharks in open water for television than go out and have to deliver a monologue on SNL. But you don't have to pay me. I'll come out one season, be a cast member. I'd love it. And I'll work my ass off, and I won't complain. I'll slow down my drinking, or I'll pump it up, whatever you want. Yeah, I can love SNL.
So in my opinion, that 100...
This photo's scary too, man. The goddamn photos are creepy. Man, he knows what he's doing over here with the vids, you know?
100% threatens Rogan. You've got to remember, he has an ongoing bitterness towards the Hollywood establishment for turning their backs on him, and even though SNL is based out of New York, they're still part of that same comedy establishment. SNL used to be the top of the comedy food chain. What Rogan has managed to do quite successfully is carve out his own little area in the sandbox. That's what the Comedy Mothership was always about. It was meant to be the foundation for an independent comedy scene away from the bright lights of Hollywood, where comedians like Rogan, who were rejected by the establishment, could create their own comedy ecosystem, and he's killing it. There's no doubt that he's successfully challenged the status quo and created something out of nothing. And then you have Shane Gillis. He's got his finger in every comedy pie at the moment. He's back in with SNL. He's got the Netflix deals. He's living in Austin and regularly appears on JRE. And now he's got this new brand deal with a multinational corporation in Bud Light. He is living the dream that Rogan always wanted. Shane is the comedian at the moment, whereas there are still people out there that have no idea that Joe Rogan is actually a comedian. Now, at the beginning of the video, I said I'd show you a clip that proves just how far apart Matt and Shane are from Rogan's other comedy buddies, so let me give you some context first.
The people that are writing them, you're getting a disproportionate amount of failures. If you're trying to get like a control study of the population, general population, if you're doing a pharmaceutical study, you have a bunch of old people, a bunch of young people, different walks of life. You're going to do it right. You do it with a bunch of biological variables.
Does Joe Rogan look like he's become an alcoholic? Like he looks haggard there. It's really haggard, you know, like he's not getting sleep. I know he talks, look at his eyes, man. The eyes don't lie. The eyes do not lie. I'm just saying, maybe Joe Rogan's on the sauce. He's a little saucy.
Variability. The variability of people that are wanting to comment negatively online is like, you can find those people that they don't have their shit together.
That's
They're
the people
a
with
mess.
dizziness.
Some of them are.
Let me just clarify, you know, the people don't have their shit together. Come on, bro. This is humanity. You're talking shit about people right now. You are literally shitting on people. And then you're saying, oh, the people that shit on people. You're doing that right now. Everybody talks about everybody. When are we going to figure that out? They didn't make the goddamn game telephone for no fucking reason. You know, everybody likes to tell a little bit of a story about somebody else. So don't sit on your fucking throne, Mr. Rogies. Dude, his whole show is shit talking. He shit talks the liberals. He shit talks governors. He shit talk. Like, how are you going to be there? Like, people that talk shit online, they don't have the bro. They got their shit together to pay your fucking ticket fees, dog. They got their shit together to pay for that Spotify subscription so we can listen to his holiness. So what do you mean? What do you mean? Come on now. You think like I just fucking all these computers and these screens and everything I have in front of me just turns itself on magically? Nah, they swipe my debit card, dog.
Our kids.
Just ignore them.
It's a nonsense
Of course we
way to
work.
communicate.
Shit.
It is nonsense.
You don't know who they are.
Of course we work. We're the ones that gotta go to that shit every fucking day. Doing jobs and stuff. Most people do jobs they hate. Most people just can't wait till they get to clock the fuck out. How are you going to say we don't have our shit together? Just because we didn't get lucky enough to have a fucking multi-bajillion-dollar podcast? Just because we didn't get our developer fucking a development deal? A development deal in our early 20s? Some of us were serving in the motherfucking army, bitch. Some of us didn't get lucky. Some of us didn't have good families. Some of us weren't born into fucking money. So how are you going to say, man, we shit, you're lucky that's all we say. The way the government treats us, the way the world treats just the regular folk, shit. Shut the fuck up, Rogan. You don't know shit from your castle, man. I'm tired of, like, every time somebody don't agree with them, oh, that's the peasants. That's like the money. Oh, what retard. Someone gave him a sword. You know? Monty Python. Oh, what retard threw your sword and now you're king? It's that, man. It's just like, why are regular people so bad? Regular people are what make these people the people that they are. It's the ones that make them millions. It's the ones that do everything on this planet, man. Why are we in such just like, why do we always need to be separate from each other? Why can't we just be different people in different parts of the world? Why does it always got to be a class system? Because it always comes back to the rich versus the poor. Everything in this world is because of class warfare. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. It all starts there. Everything after that are tools to divide us so that the rich can stay rich and the poor can stay poor. And Joe Rogan is just becoming an oligarch. And he's just looking down at us with his little bow, and he's just like, shh. He's just hunting us. He don't even care anymore. He's just too cool for school. Look at him. And he looked like, man, it's just disappointing.
You don't know what their background is. You don't know whether their opinion is valid. You're accepting negativity, and human beings have a natural propensity to look towards negative things because your brain is programmed to look for intruders and dangerous things.
Yeah. So with that in mind, let's take a look at how differently Matt and Shane handle the exact same conversation.
There's bros that bombed for 10 straight years.
Yeah, that's not good. There's a lot of fighters like that, too. They just always get knocked out. Yeah, that's not good. You should find another thing to do.
Yeah, true.
Or you're just not going to be good at anything. That's not also possible. There's certain people that just never get good at anything. They're really good at leaving comments on YouTube.
They actually are good at that, and I'll tell you what, those work.
Get you.
Those are effective.
Yeah, those dudes will absolutely shred.
Like a week up for me.
Yeah. I try to do like a thing where I'm like, I understand your feeling. In my head, I'll be like, he's just very.
Dude, Matt and Shane's podcast is really good. It's just like two dudes hanging out. Like you meet up for lunch and like you shoot the shit for an hour and a half. It's like that. And I like that. And I like that they still come. The thing about Shane Gillis is, and how do I know this? Because I didn't. We all try to seem bigger than we really are. And sometimes you get those positions and sometimes you accomplish things in life where you could legitimately in this world be like a little, I'm above you, right? Like, I don't give a fuck. But to these people, they want their positions. But it's good sometimes when people are successful. I mean, it would be good all the time if people were successful and they were just really chill about it. And it's true. Like the comments aren't really bother me. This is my philosophy, right? If you leave a comment, at least like make it good, insult me good. Most of the comments aren't good at insulting. And it doesn't really bother me. I understand at this age of my life that not everybody's going to like me. You know why? Because I don't like everybody. Right. So, I know I'm going to get a certain amount of hate and stuff. Yeah, and that was the point. Like, it don't bother me, but I know that it gets to some people. Like, I don't even fucking know, dude. I smoked a joint. God damn it, man. I tell myself if I smoke during my videos, this is a long one too. If I smoke during my videos, then by like minute 20, minute 30, that shit hits in and I'm just like, blah. Anyways, the comments, I like the comment when people leave thoughtful comments. Most of the time the insults, I just think, man, what's going on in your life that you had to come to my sorry ass page and try and disrespect me? Like, shit, I ain't shit. Wait, what you, that's not effective, bro. I think that I'm just like, damn, what's up with your life that you ended up here shitting on me? I don't know. I just think we should go back and try and have good conversations, thoughtful. Like people aren't always going to tell you you're right. And that's hard to get over because you want to think you're always right, but you're not. And people just aren't going to agree. And that's okay. Just don't get mad about it. Here's my philosophy. That's what I was going to talk about. If someone insults me and they use some like pretty harsh shit, it don't bother me. Block. That's it. I learned something. I'll tell you something. I learned something from some other like big streamer. He was on a podcast and he said he had like a breakdown or whatever. And he went to the doctor and the doctor was saying, what's wrong? And he's like, can I be honest with you? He's like, these people online who I thought were my friends and blah, blah, blah are just harassing me now doing this. And it's really bothering me because they were my friends or whatever, blah, blah. And he says, what do you do to the people in your real life? Do you block their number and just don't talk to them anymore? He's like, yeah, I do that. And he's like, okay, do that online. And so just a little tip, if someone's just being a dickhead, like you can insult me and comment, but if you just cross the line, for me, my line is my line, but you cross the line, it's just kind of like, that's not even like good. That's not, that's just, you're just trying to be a dickhole. Then I just block them because you just do it. Blah, blah, like just like that. Blah. Don't even think about it because that's about how much energy you need to put into that. You know?
They're upset right now. But yeah, they'll get you thinking like it's not a thing. It's a bad. Although they're like a part of the whole YouTube ecosystem. Where like, you catch enough bad ones, sometimes you go, maybe I could think about something.
Yeah, maybe I am an asshole.
Yeah, it's like maybe I'll think about something. Or I don't know. It's tough because you don't want to be like nobody can tell me shit. But then sometimes you'll read them and you're like, I don't have to deal with this right now.
The thing is, you don't know who you're talking
my children.
to. You could be talking to the biggest moron that works at 7-Eleven. You could be talking to the biggest moron.
Of course.
And it's just like, you're like, you, that's not true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's just a waste of time.
Geez, man, what's wrong with working at 7-Eleven? Seriously, Rogan's got to be careful. I'll tell you what, he's obsessed with crapping on working class people with an opinion, and he's starting to sound.
That's like one of my problems with Rogan is Rogan had that deal he's lived his whole life comfortably with money. Like, God damn, man, what have you done? You know them change machines? How many of you out there have gone to that change machine with a big Ziploc bag or your glass jar or your fucking cheese puff container? You were so broke, you dumped all that change in that change machine and you come out with $10 and you felt like a king. You got $10, you got that little receipt, $10, and then you just went straight and brought you a frozen pizza and then you had $5 and you're like, God damn. But you still felt like a king because now you had a frozen pizza and $5. Joe Rogan don't know about that. Joe Rogan don't know about working 2-3 jobs. Joe Rogan don't know about, like getting kicked out because you didn't have money, having your water turned off. Man, I had my water turned. I was so broke one time. Oh man. Dude, I had my water turned off for like 3 months. It was so bad. Why I don't like cold plunges? Because I took cold showers. That shit was miserable. I don't know if I was ever clean because damn. It ain't fun being broke. Or like, have you ever had to go to a food pantry and get food? Or like, shit, have you ever had to like donate parts of your body? Just that money would make all the difference. Or like, man, shit ain't fun, dude. Oof.
Sound more and more like the Hollywood elites that he's been bagging for the last 12 years. But did you see how different Matt and Shane's take on negative comments was? See, these guys know. They get it. Matt nailed it when he said that it's all part of the YouTube ecosystem, and if you see a few of the same negative comments over and over again, then maybe it should make you stop and think. And Shane agreed with that. I've covered in a previous video how Matt and Shane are aware of what happened to Brendan Schaub and the subreddit dedicated to hating him. Here's a really quick recap for you.
I watched that whole incel documentary about
the guy that made that, a documentary about.
Yeah, so I know exactly what's going on in that subreddit. So I watched that documentary and then I went to the subreddit. I'm like, whoa, dude, there's like a whole space where you can just act this
whole subculture of these people.
There's like a small city worth
14,000,
a small city's worth of people, like a rural town's worth of people who are dedicated towards like watching your every move. The sin they're punishing him for is taking that like kind of elitist attitude towards his fan base. Yeah. He was kind of like, you guys are losers, I'm killing it. They were like, dude, we'll hive mind make fun of you. It's like, dude, I would instantly cave.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I'll quit. You guys I'm done.
This is the major difference between Matt, Shane, and guys like.
I just, I don't need to watch more of this. I appreciate you, podcast cringe. Yeah, I'm probably killing my fan base right here. That's very tiny. I'm not a big guy. I can't do the 3-hour Joe Rogan podcast. But I just want to say that you notice there's a trend when you start to get elitist and you forget your fans. This is where all things start to go downhill. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. The fans are the one that watch you. They're the ones that obsess about your videos and share them with break them down. It's good. We're doing the same thing here. We're breaking down Rogan so I could learn about myself and maybe you can learn about you. Don't forget where you come from. Money's just money, man. Money's just money. Money's freedom. That's what money is. But when you start to think it's anything else than that, and you start to think it makes you better than this person, that person, that's when you're fucking up. So don't fuck up, folks. And don't let money ruin you. Keep it cool. And peace out.